Okay, hey guys, welcome back to my channel Infaloka. So this would be my first video. So I want to talk about the AWS IAM or Identity and Access Management by me Rahmat Wibowo. So the first one we are going to talk about the overview of the AWS IAM. AWS IAM is a service that enables you to securely control access to AWS resources. It defines who and what, who like the who can access the resource, like the authentications and the authorizations is the what, right? IAM is a global, not region specific, and it is a foundational for security in any AWS resources. So the core components, it consists of the users, groups, and roles. Three of them. The IAM users is like it represents a single person or application. So the characteristic it has long-term credentials, secret access key, and then directly assigned permissions, and it is not recommended at scale and typically used for the legacy systems and programmatic access like the scripts using CLI. An example is like a developer with AWS console login and then a script using AWS access key and secret key, but it is not, yeah, it's not recommended to use the access key. Yeah, and then groups. IAM group is a collection of users. So the purpose is like to simplify the permissions management. So for example, there's a developers groups, like it has a read-write access to the dev resources, and admin groups it has a full access. So yeah, one of the keynote like groups cannot be assumed and groups do not have credentials. So the group is like grouping all of the grouping the permissions. It isn't have any ways to be assumed. So for example, it will be like in OOP or object oriented programming, it will be a class. The group is a class, and then the users is the object that it is implementing the groups. So oh wait, there should be a role. This one, the roles. IAM role is like is an identity with temporary credentials that can be assumed. The characteristic it is no permanent credentials used by AWS resources. Users also can use it via assume and also external identities using SSO or validated logins. Examples is like the EC2 instance accessing the S3, cross account access, and SSO login to multiple accounts. So this would be the secure way to do. So this is the differences between the user, group, and role. And yeah, for the feature like identity type, user is individual, group is collection of users, and role is assumable identity. The credentials for the user is permanent, the group is none, so it didn't have any credentials, and the role is temporary. I think the default would be like for 1 hour, I think. And yeah, the user can log in, group and role cannot, but for you to for all to be login, you need to be user need to assume the role to be login, and use case like for the user is like the human or app, and group is the permission management, and the role is delegation or cross account access. Yeah, best practice prefer to be using role and avoid direct usage for the user. A group is for the legacy grouping. So yeah, we can make a group using a role actually. Yeah, we can talk about it later. And then there's a permissions and policies. And policies is like define what actions are allowed or denied. The types would be managed policies that is managed by AWS itself, and the inline policies. So for example, this is the example of the policies. There will be versions of the contract. So for example, it's like the API contract version, and then the statement. The statement consists of the effect like allow, and the actions like get object, and then and then the resources, the permission model. AWS use the allow by default is no, and explicitly deny overrides everything. And there's a trust relationships and versus permission policy. So permission policy is like the defining what actions the role or user can perform. The trust relationship is the defines which identity that can assume the role. So for example, the role will have two contracts. One is the permissions and one is the trust relationships. So this one is the example of the trust policy. So this role allows to be assumed by this principle, like principle AWS, and this is the key difference. Permission policy is the action, trust relationship is the who can assume, attached to a role or user, and trust relationship is to attach to a role only. So user didn't have the trust relationship because it cannot be assumed by anyone. Assume role mechanism. This is the mechanism. So assume role use AWS STS or security token service to generate temporary credentials like the flow. The first one is the user authenticates and then calls the STS assume role and then gets temporary credentials and use role permissions. So it's like you are getting the access key, but the access key credentials is like temporary, like it can be expired in maybe one hour. So the use case is like the cross account access, the privilege escalations controlled, and SSO authentication CI/CD pipelines. The best practice is like the avoid long-term credentials. Do not use IAM user where possible. Prefer roles plus temporary credentials. This one is the best practice. Use a base role pattern. Create a minimal IAM user or identity. The permission is only to do login and assume roles. So this is the example. And then it can. Sorry for this one. I need to put it back, like the admin role, dev role, and read-only role. So we also have a least privilege principle, grant minimum required permissions, use scope resource instead of wild character like star. Also enable MFA everywhere, especially for the root account or admin roles. Use role-based access instead of users. So users can assume a list of roles, but the users directly will not have any permissions. So for example, the attacker have the access key of the dev. It needs to know which roles that it can be assumed. So there will be a two-step to make it escalate. And then also by enabling MFA to the roles itself, so we are making the third part. So the attackers need to know the access key, the roles, and the MFA all at once. And use role-based access. Rotate credentials, automatically rotate access key if used, and using CloudTrail for the API calls and auditing. So CloudTrail, we can define the least privilege by using CloudTrail. For example, like for the service, which actions or which API that gets being called, right? So it is a really best practice to use CloudTrail. And this one is the multi-account strategy with assume role, why multi-account, the isolation, security isolation, and the billing separations. Also the environment separations. For example, there will be a management account with an SSO, and then it can assume a dev account, prod account. For cross account role, we are using the STS, right? So we are putting the user from different account into the principle of the trust relationship. Benefits: no credential sharing, centralized access control, and then also the AWS SSO IAM Identity Center. It features one login for multiple AWS accounts, integration with the Google Workspace, Azure AD, and Okta for the IAM. So how it works: user logins via SSO portal, selects account and role, automatically assume roles, and the benefit is like eliminates IAM users. So no more managing a lot of IAM users. It has a centralized permissions management. So supports also FMFA. this is the Terraform implementations. This is the IAM role creation. So we're defining the resource like the IAM role. For example, this one is this is the dev role, and then we are also putting the assume role policy. Also attach policy to the role. IAM user minimal access. Allow user to assume role, and yeah, resource IAM user policy. Yeah, the policy itself for the IAM user, which is only to assume a role in this case. And yeah, don't forget this is the multi-account provider configurations. And wait, okay, to the best practice Terraform structure, there will be an IAM folder, IAM project with roles, policies, users, SSO, and outputs. Terraform file, recommended architecture, production grade. This one, yeah, avoid the IAM roles, use AWS SSO, use roles per environment like admin role and dev role, and then yeah, enforce the MFA, use multi-account setup for each environment. The conclusion in modern role-based, not user-based, use temporary credentials, average AWS SSO, and multi-account isolations. So the next one is I want to talk about the OIDC for the GitHub Actions, the secure CI/CD access. So why OIDC instead of access keys? So traditional approach would be store AWS access key and secrets into the AWS into GitHub secrets. The risk of leakage, no automatic rotations. OIDC approach is like GitHub issues short-lived identity tokens. AWS validates and issues temporarily credentials via STS. No secret stored, short-lived credentials, and fine-grained trust control. This is how OIDC works in the flow itself. The GitHub Actions jobs runs. GitHub generates OIDC token or JWT. Workflow requests AWS access. AWS verifies the token, and via OIDC provider, AWS STS returns the temporary credentials, and then workflow use role permissions. The key components is this one, OIDC identity provider in IAM. This one is sample IAM role for GitHub Actions, assumable via OIDC, contains trust policy and permission policy. What can do? Yeah, this one is the trust policy for the GitHub OIDC. Like the principal would be the federated one. You only need to change the account ID, and yeah, also token actions, GitHub user content, change it to your organization / your repo. Important conditions, you need to know that this one, the AUD must be sts.amazonaws.com. Restrict repo or branch can assume role. More secure example with branch restriction, so it will only be applied to a certain branch, like for example like the main branch. The permission and policy example is this. Yeah, Terraform implementations, create the OIDC provider, and then yeah, IAM role for GitHub, attach permission, GitHub Actions workflow example. Yeah, we are using the Ubuntu latest. You are using the checkout, and then configure AWS credentials. Yeah, and deploy. Security best practice for OIDC. Use stricter like this one, and separate roles per environment, like GitHub Actions for dev, staging, and prod roles. Avoid wildcards, as I mentioned before. Yeah, use this privilege, enable CloudTrail logging, combine with multi-account strategy, like GitHub Actions, management account role, assume role, target account, OIDC, plus multi-account pattern, advanced. Yeah, common mistakes, using access keys in GitHub, allowing repo with wildcard for all repos, also using the administrator access, not restricting the branch, and reusing the same role across the environment. That is what the pitfall. And the final architecture recommendation, use OIDC combined with the roles SSO and eliminate IAM users for automations. Final takeaway, OIDC transforms CI/CD security from store secrets and hope they are safe into trust identity plus issue temporary credentials dynamically. Yeah, I think that's pretty much of it. Thank you for listening to me in this video. Feel free to contact me on LinkedIn, maybe. Yeah, yeah, I think that's all for today's. See you on the next video.